Right, sorry about that, Fran. I accidentally pressed stop. So this is going to come in 2 separate videos for you. But let's have a look at the upside down dead. Yeah, so you've got the right idea of that kind of snappiness and the pop, but you've got to keep the arms locked out, okay? Because when the arm bends, that means you're not keeping tension on the bar, okay? And that's super, super important. For a dynamic start like that to work, you have to have tension on the bar, the slack being pulled out of the bar the whole time. Otherwise, you're creating a lot of movement for not a huge amount of benefit in terms of how smooth the pull's going to be. Good. Really got a full body. Everything's got a tense. Really got to push through on this one. Okay, so just on that one, you got the first part of the setup right, but then as your bum came to come down to the bench, it just kind of plonked down a little bit. Now, this is practice, all right? Now, I think what it was for you on that time, I think your first foot that you put down was a little off. So you can see sort of the second foot as you put it down just kind of has to kind of land as and where it can, because otherwise you're going to get cramp in your butt or your hips or something. And then because of that, the glutes just had to kind of put themselves down where they could, really. So that's just takes a little bit of practice. Yeah, I think you're right on that one. You know, just kind of talking yourself out a little bit. I mean, like I've seen a lot more weight move a lot faster for you, but these days come, okay? It's just make sure when you're going through these, Fran, just make sure it is reflected in the RPE for the day, okay? Even if it's a case of like I psyched myself up, that's a subjective measure that'll get brought into the day. Good. Remember, it's toes to the end of your shoes, okay? Try not to push your heels into the floor. You're not using your hips to thrust the bar up. You're just using them as a moment of transfer. Yeah, so at the moment you're getting the setup much, much better. But the tendency to squeeze your butt is still there. Alright, so you're trying to hip thrust the bar up. So the thing is, you've got to think is that all the energy... let's just go back. Okay, so we want your energy back here, back towards your shoulders, okay? Squeezing your ass up into the air, basically, so... Oh god, here we go, this is going to be a bad one. I'm going to draw your legs in. Look at that. Right, okay, so there's the rest of your body, right? So, this extension at the knee is what we're looking for, okay? We're looking for you to basically try and push your force that way. Okay, through the toes. That then basically creates that counter reaction, which sends the force back up this way. But if the hips rise up off the bench, that force never gets past these lines, because it goes from the foot, through the knee, up the quad, and straight up into the ceiling. Okay, so these lines never continue here, and then none of that energy ever actually ends up making its way to the barbell itself. Okay, you could try putting your feet out slightly further in front of you to begin with, like further out away from the body, because that way you have a tendency to want to slide back more. Because say like if you were trying to do, say, a glute bridge with your feet way out in front of you, it's just not an overly normal kind of feeling, so you don't have that tendency to want to squeeze your butt up. It'd be like trying to do a deadlift with a bar 6 inches out in front of you. It just doesn't feel right, so it's not a thing that you want to do. So remember, yeah, so as you drop the hips down, it's the shoulders back at the same time, okay? So there's this kind of like pendulum, you wedge of, as the hips come down, the shoulders get yanked back, okay? Really try and depress the shoulders, okay? Opposite of a shrug. That's what you need to do on those to keep your upper back straight. Yeah, there's still that little tendency to bend the arm. So again, remember, every time you bend the arm, it's taking up all the work that you've done with the hips is being taken away. Alright, you're losing it because then you're having to re-jolt. Okay, imagine trying to tow a car with slack in the tow rope. It wouldn't work. Much better on the 105. Much better. There you go. So I think having got the 110 out the way, it's kind of... You've almost like semi-primed yourself. But that was much, much better. Good, yeah. Yeah. Not bad. Not bad. So that was a much, much better rep. Just remember as well, that first part of the movement is a push. Push is a leg press. Alright? Even if you have to go do a couple of reps on an empty leg press and just get used to extending the knee, The first joint to move in this is always, always going to be the knee. Where are we? Where's that start? Where's that start? There. So here, okay? I think you're always going to have that little bit of lumbar curvature. Now, this is the thing that a lot of people get wrong, is the lumbar curvature is not the end of the world at all. Because for all I can't see your spine, okay? For some people, that's just how it looks. You know what I mean? Depending on where they hold their weight and where their pelvis sits. So don't overthink about what's going on down here quite so much, okay? The upper back we can sort. Down here, it is what it is. Some people have just like a very sort of lordotic posture at the top. Kyphotic posture at the top, and others, like I said, I think when it starts getting down towards the end, it's a range, okay? It doesn't have to be bolt straight, because some people you can insist on them being bolt straight and you end up actually putting them into extension. So don't worry about there, but just all you've got to think is as the hips have dropped down, your knees are what are going to benefit, okay? So the back angle stays the same. It's that push into the floor, then you've got every chance for your hips to get under, okay? Whereas you can see there, the hips came up much earlier. The quads are basically out of the game now, and the bar's only at your knees. Whereas your hips should be more kind of here. Chest much more upright. So we should be looking for an angle at the knee more of about like this. Because that way, the knee angle is a lot smaller than what it is currently. And then you can still explode the hips through, okay? Sorry for the yawning. I had to enter a CrossFit kind of competition yesterday. Worst thing I ever did. We won, but worst thing I ever did. Nice! Fantastic. Well done. Awesome. That is one of the best squats I've ever seen you do. That was fucking awesome. So let's have a look at what went right there, okay? Simple walkout. Nice deep breath. There's that control, okay? So there's this even distribution here now, okay? So rather than the knees flying forward or hips flying back, okay? The angle, the camera is ever so slightly off, okay? But we've got that sort of disparity between where it wants to be doing all the work, okay? And as the movement goes on, you eventually end up splitting that evenly. So as the weight goes further forward, now look where we are, right? Now you've got the weight evenly distributed. Here, okay? The bar's ever so slightly further forward on this one, okay? But by the time, again, the angle doesn't help because I wish we were a little more here. But basically, as you've gone down throughout that movement, you've actually redistributed your weight pretty nicely, okay? And it's controlled in a slight curve towards the front, but it's been nicely done. You've realigned, and as you've driven out, you've driven your upper back into the bar to keep you upright. That is awesome. Really, really happy with that. That's the best squat I think I've seen you do. Definitely for a pause rep. Definitely, that was awesome. Some more pause work maybe on the menu. Ooh. Right. Now this is the day you weren't happy with. Right, now before we start, I can see you're a little too far down the bench. Okay, your kind of mouth is under the bar, whereas we need eye line under the bar. Great setup with the lower body. Shoulders have got to be back and down, remember? Yep, so remember, shoulders back and down before you go. Shoulders back and down, back down, back down. I know I've kind of given you a lot to kind of think about at the moment with the initial setup itself, but with that one, eyes a little too far up the bar, and again, it's that unrack, shoulders back down, then you can start what you need to do. Okay, that needs to be like clockwork. And don't worry about that 82.5 on a pause squat. No, don't worry about that at all. Christ. I would rather you turn out a squat like that at a lower weight than what you were expecting. That is what's going to make you better at squatting. Those over and over and over again. Rather than squeezing on an extra 5 kilos and there being something to talk about. There was not a lot to talk about on those at all. Which, from your side, is a great thing. Okay, I think people kind of panic when their coach hasn't got much to say. But that's the opposite, you know what I mean? If I've got lots to say, then we got issues. But no, yeah, that's quite a good point to make there. Yeah, you really quality over quantity, good movement patterns, and you're only going to get stronger with the reps you make. Okay, you're not getting stronger with the reps that you're grinding out or indeed failing. All right. Yeah, super happy with that squat. Super happy. We may start having to look at this a little more. Okay, ooh, belt, nice. Yeah, smooth again. Was it Leanne by any chance, squatting 140? Because Leanne doesn't count. Leanne was a former client of mine. She's awesome, man. She's just brutally strong. Anyway, she's very strong. She's well, you know, she's kind of well proportioned. She's well built for it, and she's a dedicated powerlifter. You know what I mean? That is her thing. That's all she does. Very nicely timed. Yeah, like that squat. Fine. Overall, really good. Overall, really good. I'm gonna have a little play around. I'm gonna have a little play around here. And I think I want to keep the higher volume regular back squat for the higher volume stuff, but then start getting more pauses in and around here as well, because I think I want to make sure it wasn't a fluke. Okay, so I'm going to make some minor changes. Okay, so everything that's basically, it's going to center around getting some more pause work in there. Good overall. Let me know if you've got any particularly busy weeks coming up and stuff, and just make sure, Fran, as you go, please, the session RPE is filled in, okay? Because I use that as quite a big indicator for go forwards, basically, in terms of whether I keep the original plan or we change things up as we go. But any questions, as always, I'm going to be a bit more readily available to kind of direct message straight back over the next week or so while I'm away. But any issues, as always, let me know.